Ferdinand here. How's it going? If you are still intact after that, I have a video that's even louder than my screaming my name thing that I do. Yes, this video is very, very loud. And it talks about God. Yay! I'm going to play a little bit of it so you see how loud it is, or rather, you don't see how loud it is. You can hear how loud it is. And then I'm just going to read the transcript, I guess, and point out the logical fallacies to you. Here we go.
We all know the word God, but what does it really mean? Is it just a fancy name for the big unknown?
Maybe.
Or is there something more?
I don't know.
Think about it. We see a chair and instantly imagine a carpenter.
Ah, yes, the classic watchmaker fallacy. We see things that we know are designed, and we know that there's a person that designed it. Yes, because we know how that works. We observe that people make chairs.
We taste food and picture a chef.
Not necessarily you can pick a fruit off of a tree and eat it, and you don't need to picture a chef then. So again, this is just you're inferring a thing because you are familiar with the thing.
Even the moon has a story. A giant Thea crashing into it.
A giant what crashed into it? Thea. What the hell is a Thea? Thea? Theia. What the hell is that? What are you? A hypothesized ancient planet in the early solar system that, according to the great giant impact hypothesis, collided with the early Earth. Huh. I thought it was just an asteroid. But whatever, okay, yeah.
But the biggest question of all, what caused the Big Bang?
We don't know. Nobody knows. We have no idea. In fact, we don't even know if it has been caused or not. We don't know how that works. And thanks for watching. That's it. We don't know. Scientists haven't figured it out yet. No idea. So this question assumes an answer in the question. It is a loaded question because you are assuming that there is a cause to the Big Bang. So by asking the question, you've already assumed that there is a cause when we don't know. How Big Bang? Don't know. Big Bang is a thing, we think. It's our best theory so far. And what do you know about it? Do you know about cosmology? Have you studied it? Do you have a degree in it? Are you an expert in this matter? Have you consulted experts with this? Have you analyzed the various scientific papers about Big Bang cosmology? I haven't, so I'm asking if you have, because I don't think you have. I'm not reading from the transcript just yet because it hasn't gotten loud yet. But don't worry, it will get loud. Trust me.
Where did all that stuff come from? Everything else has a cause, right?
It's getting louder. Well, kind of, but we went over this already. What does it mean to have a cause? What does that mean to you? Okay? Effects and causes can be intertwined. What is the cause of gravity? Okay, that's a loaded question. That assumes there's a cause. The effect of gravity happens because of mass. The greater the mass, the greater the gravity. So, did mass cause the gravity? But gravity also brings together the mass because the mass is coming together because it is attracted to each other. So is then gravity cause of the mass that makes more gravity? How does it is a complicated thing, and it's too simplistic to rely upon our intuitions. And many times our intuitions about the true nature of reality are wrong. Cause and effect seems to be pretty useful for many things that we understand, but that doesn't necessarily extend to everything. Only the things that we know about. We can't say much about everything other than we don't know everything.
So why would the universe, this incredible, mind-blowing place, be any different? It's
Why would it be different? Why wouldn't it be? This is a compositional fallacy. So, assuming something is true of the whole because it's true of the parts of the universe that we can observe seem to have cause and effect. And then you're extrapolating from that to say that the whole universe must also possess that same attribute. But that's not necessarily the case.
like saying a chair built itself or a meal
No, it is not like saying a share built itself because we know what shares are and we know how they're assembled.
cooks itself. It just doesn't make sense.
All right, and we have the appeal to personal incredulity. Just because it doesn't make sense to you doesn't mean it's not true or false. Having something not make sense doesn't mean anything other than you don't understand it.
Maybe, just maybe, there's a missing piece to the puzzle.
Speak
Maybe
louder.
someone or something had to set the whole thing in motion.
Ah, it's so loud. So I told you it was going to get loud. Maybe someone or something set it into motion. Um, maybe any number of things, but what we need is a demonstrable demonstration. But if this thing needs it to be set into motion, and we're going to continue with the inference of, well, this thing is a effect and therefore has a cause, okay, then the someone that you're introducing into the picture is a cause to the effect of the universe, but then also needs an effect that caused that someone. And then that just goes ad infinitum. There's someone or something that caused them, and something or someone that caused them, and so on and so forth. So it doesn't really answer anything. But of course, you are all too ready to make special exceptions for the someone that you're proposing and saying that no, they are immune to the rules that I have set forth regarding the nature of reality, as if you understood the true nature of reality in the first place and are smarter than all the scientists that haven't figured it out yet. Yeah, sure, why not? Keep going with your loud violin, though. Oh, my word.
Someone we call God.
Okay, so it's gotten really loud now. And I think that at this point, maybe just reading it will be better. Let's see. We someone we call God. We, who's we? You mean you. Someone you call God. That's nice. Now, it's not about saying believe this or that. It's about asking questions and keeping that curious mind alive. Well, that's great. But uh, let's ask questions about why you're thinking that it's a someone and whatever you're deciding to call that someone. How did you arrive at that conclusion? Okay. Is the universe a self-made machine, or is there a mastermind pulling the strings? That is a dichotomy. We don't know if that's true, or is there some other thing that I have not thought of that could be the answer? There you go. See, you're not really thinking. You're poking at thinking, but you haven't really thought it through, because Well, it's either this or it's that. But see, if it's a machine, well, machines require machine makers. This is a self-made thing. What if it's none of those things? What if it's something else? We don't know. Um, Speaking of strings, this is where we get uh quite incoherent. Let's talk about string theory and how that suggests the existence of God. Oh, yes. What do you know about string theory? Are you a cosmologist? Are you familiar with string theory? Have you read published peer reviewed papers on string theory? Have you submitted and published one yourself? What is your expertise in that science? I'm very curious because if you don't have any expertise, I'm not sure why we should listen to you about your views on this idea. Now, that's not to say that your views uh, couldn't be correct. It's just that I'm questioning, as you said to do, why we would think that you know what you're talking about. So, yeah. Apparently they think string theory suggests the existence of God, even though their video is called "Science Proves God's Existence." So it's interesting how that changed from proving to suggesting. I think that's very interesting there. Then they just say string theory proves God. That's nice. How? Um, Imagine the universe as a grand symphony. Okay, now we're using our imagination and no longer using facts. Uh, and then what we're doing is we're appealing to an analogy about string theory, which it isn't. That's not how string theory is. Okay, but he's going off of what he knows string theory. It's a cosmic vibrating orchestra of tiny vibrating strings. Yeah, that's nice. That's what string theory suggests, not me. Is it really what string theory suggests? I don't know. Let's see. In physics, string theory is a theoretical framework in which point-like particles of particle physics are replaced by one-dimensional objects called string. String theory describes how these strings propagate through space and interact with each other. When do they become strings like us? Let's see. A string looks such as an ordinary particle. Let's see. Okay, it's determined by the vibrational state of the string, and string theory. Yeah, okay. So there's vibration, but it's not a string as we think about strings. But it's a broad and varied subject which addresses the deep questions in fundamental physics. It has contributed to advances in mathematical physics. Uh, let's see. It was been abandoned in favor of quantum aerodynamics. Wow. Subsequently, it realized the severity properties of string theory unsuitable as a theory of nuclear physics, made a promising candidate for quantum theory of gravity. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so basically, the actual string theory is far more complicated than just picturing it or imagining it as strings. Uh, so that's wrong. It's not what string theory suggests. So he's wrong about that. It's made of tiny vibrating strings. So here's where it gets it. There might not just be one universe, but many. Does it really? Let's see. Multiverse. Um, some versions of string theory seem to suggest that, but not necessarily all of them. So that's wrong. Yeah, I'm just looking at Wikipedia. It's not that difficult. But he doesn't need to do actual research or any research at all, or even the bare level, surface level research. Why would you? Okay, so there might be a multiverse. Okay, that's nice. If string theory is true, it means the universe or even the multiverse isn't just a random collection of particles; it's a planned symphony. Uh, how does it mean that? Where do you derive that from string theory? Nowhere in this does it suggest that at all by looking over it. And nowhere in what peer-reviewed published paper suggests that. Where do you find that information from? Where do you extrapolate that from? How do you get to that conclusion? because you're just saying it. You're not showing that that's true, and you're relying on your false analogy to make it seem true. But we already know this is a false analogy because the sort of strings that we're talking about vibrating aren't the sort of strings that vibrate on piano or guitar or what have you. Um, every string playing its part following set of rules. And that begs the question, who wrote the symphony? Funny that you said it's begging the question, because that's exactly what you do when you ask who wrote the symphony. You are begging the question. You are assuming there is a who that wrote a symphony. That is a huge assumption that has not yet been warranted. You have not shown that there is a who. You also haven't shown that it's a symphony. You don't. This appeal to analogy followed by a begging the question. So more logical fallacies. Who set the rules? Again, that is a loaded question. You are assuming that there is a who that set the rules. Perhaps the rules are just the rules, and that's it. That's just how things are. Maybe no one set them. They just are. That's just the things that are the way they are. Who wrote the symphony universe follows? Maybe nobody did. You're assuming that there's a who again. The incredible complexity and harmony of the universe is suggested by the string theory, which it isn't really suggesting because that's not what string theory does. But you think that's what it does because you're wrong about it and you don't really know anything about it. I don't know that much about it. I just know what I read on Wikipedia real quick about it, but I don't think you know anything about it. And if you do, then please demonstrably demonstrate your education about this by explaining that in some peer-reviewed publication, and you're saying that science proves God, then you could easily publish a paper that did that. But you won't, and you can't because you don't know what the bleep you're talking about. Points towards the intelligence behind it all. How does it do that? Where did that idea come from? It all hits a designer. It does? Really? I don't see that. You're just asserting things without any demonstration. Who crafted the fundamental laws of nature? Who fine-tuned the cosmos for life to exist? But you already said that the string theory shows multiverse, which means that all the universes that exist, each one could be different. So there doesn't need to be any tuning of any of them. They could all be random, and if you have enough of them, then eventually life is going to arise in at least one of them. So then you don't need anyone to craft any of it. And why would you think that somebody has to craft the universe in order for there to be life, given the fact that life appears to be extraordinarily rare in the universe? What is it about life that you find like, oh, I can't believe there's life? Oh, why wouldn't there be life? Maybe life is inevitable given the sort of universe that we have. Who knows? I don't, but you don't either. So you're just asserting things that are true. But then we're not asking questions. You said to ask questions. Okay, how does this creature that you're speaking of work? Do they also vibrate? Who made their vibrations? How do they work? Where are they located? How did they make the universe? There are so many questions that you're not asking. String theory doesn't prove God's existence. Love it. So the whole name of the video is that science proves God, but it doesn't actually prove God. I love it. But it definitely has some fascinating clues to the cosmic puzzle. Yeah, sure. Whatever you say, buddy. It suggests a level of design and intelligence the universe is hard to ignore. No, it doesn't. But if it's not string theory, then what is? Why everything in the universe is perfect? That assumes that things in the universe are perfect. What do you mean by perfect? What does that mean? Imagine our universe again. Imagining our universe. Why not stick with reality? I don't want to imagine stuff. I want reality. I want facts. I want information, not another analogy. This is just another analogy. Imagine this as that. No, let's stick to the facts. We're not going to imagine the universe as a cosmic recipe. That's a silly thing. You're trying to talk about fine tuning, but you don't understand fine tuning. So okay, is it just a lucky coincidence? Could be. We don't know, or I have no idea. Maybe, or maybe there's a filtering mechanism that's in place that brings it about in a certain way. Okay, so do all these clues add up to proof of God? No, they don't. Not even little. They're not even clues in the first place. They are assumptions you're making based on faulty logic. Hold on a second. If everything needs a creator, would that mean God needs one too? Yes, it would. But you're going to say that doesn't. It doesn't. Why doesn't it need a creator? Remember, everything that having a cause applies to our universe, and it's not inside our universe. So it's only the things inside the universe, right? And the beings within it. But imagine God being us beyond the rules of our universe, right? God requires special pleading. Another logical fallacy. He's like the ultimate programmer who wrote the game. How do you know any of this? Not a player stuck in about. Think about it. God created time itself. How do you know that? So when that mean it existed outside of time? If that's the case, then God has no when to do anything. Being outside of time is incoherent. There's no when to do things. Time is a sequence of events. A, then B, then C. If there's no time, there's just A. There's no B. There's nothing that comes next because you can't come next without time. I wouldn't need a fancy spaceship to zoom around. How do you know any of this? So God is spaceless, timeless, and dimensionless, right? So it is nowhere, no when, and also doesn't exist anymore. Good dude. He's not a big dude with a beard. How do you know that? Why wouldn't he be? Maybe he has a beard. Chilling on a cloud. How do you know that? He's the source of all the moral stuff. How do you know that's humanity? Why can't humans be the source of morality? The reason good and bad even exist. Well, at least you admit that God created bad. Grand designer, cosmic composer, the ultimate lie. He's just asserting things. Why are not multiple gods possible? This will be interesting. Just because you're gonna say, I'm sure. What if there's multiple gods? Well, I don't even. I'm not even convinced that there's a god, let alone multiple. But sure, why not? Well, if we study the universe, all things inside of it, but God's outside of it. So, what would studying what's inside the universe tell us about what's outside the universe? Well, how could we possibly hope to know what's outside the universe? There would be no way to know anything about what's outside the universe. But we're just going to assert stuff. So, we're just going to see a similar pattern of what Nikola Tesla observed. Okay. How Nikola Tesla proved one God. This will be great. Let's find out. Numbers, using numbers. Of course, numerology. Why not use more bad logic? And pseudoscience on top of it. Numerology is just nonsense and nothingness. It's incoherent and not based on reality. But okay. Numbers 3, 6, 9. Believes that they had a profound connection. Whoa, woo, he believes nonsense. Okay. He observed those numbers repeatedly in natural patterns, which doesn't mean anything. Okay, so what's all this? So he saw the fundamental patterns and he thought that means that there's a God. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And that doesn't prove anything. That's just he believed that stuff. So what? Who cares? But then that didn't answer how there's one God at all. It didn't even attempt to answer the question. Why are multiple gods not possible using common sense? There's no such thing as common sense. Picture a bunch of gods. Sure, why not? Use your imagination again because we don't have any facts at all, each with their own ideas and powers. Would they always agree on how to run the universe? Probably not. I don't know. Why do you say that? Why do you say probably not? How do you know that? Why wouldn't they? If they're all God, why wouldn't they agree? If they, you just say stuff. Just assert things. They wouldn't agree. I get, that but what if one is more powerful than the other one? It's like, oh, clashing wills and contradictory rules would likely create a cosmic mess. Oh, like the mess that we have in the universe, right? So then there are multiple gods. Great. The order and harmony we see today, what order and harmony? I don't see that. Suggests a single unifying intelligence and charge. No, it doesn't. What religion matches their criteria? None of them. That is what Islam teaches us. No, it doesn't. According to Islam, there's only one God who's invisible, sustainer, blah, 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 blah. I don't care what Islam says, just like I don't care what any religion says. What needs to be done is you need to demonstrably demonstrate that these things are true, and you haven't done that. All you've done is commit logical fallacy after logical fallacy. You are, who will know how to operate a new machine? What are you talking about? You're going back to humans and what humans do. In the Holy Quran, the divine book that the Muslims believe in, yeah, you believe it's divine. That's for sure. It's not. It's just written by a person. Also, different versions of it were, produced at different times, and canon was decided, and then certain people were decided to be the leaders, and others aren't. They've been fighting over this for years and years and centuries and millennium, and who knows. How can Quran predict some new scientific researches? It can't, and it hasn't ever. It tells us many things that align with the latest scientific research. That's post-hoc proper. After this, therefore, this was it. What they do is they go, oh, we learned this new thing in science. Let's extrapolate some verses from the Quran and shove that into what we learned. But what's never, ever, ever, ever done is to make a prediction of what science will discover that has not yet been discovered, and say the Quran says that science will find out that this is true, and then find out that that thing is true. And if it isn't true, if it's false, then you go, well, the Quran must be false. But it's never been done with any religion. Yours is no different. You were told that 500 years ago, scientists proved the Earth was round. Yeah, many people did know or think that the Earth was round lots of time ago. So what? The Holy Quran mentioned this more than 1,400 years ago. So what? It doesn't matter. It's not hard to figure that out using simple mathematics. This was well known in the region and around the world. But it's not really in the Quran. But even if it is, it doesn't prove anything. Let's see. But it's not actually round. It's an obloid spheroid. So why wouldn't the Quran be specific about that? But that's not that amazing. Like, why doesn't it describe the molecular structure of DNA? That would be interesting. But you have to really look at it sideways for these verses to mean what you want them to mean. Let's see. They're indirectly referred to the Quran. Yeah, no, they're not. Doesn't that attract you? No. Doesn't that invite you to guide the divine boundary of Islam? No, because it's not true. Nothing you've said is true, and you have nothing but logical fallacies to support all your ideas. So I'm not interested in it. If you're still here, congratulations. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so yeah. Nothing he says in this video, very loudly with loud music playing, is demonstrably demonstrated.
Now, this isn't about saying believe in this or.
Anyways, yeah, nothing has been demonstrated to be true. Nothing but empty assertions, bald assertions, question begging, loaded questions, more bald assertions, appeals to analogies, and appeal to personal incredulity was in there. Appeal to ignorance was also in there, and of course, God of the gaps everywhere, here, there, and so on. And attributing to your holy book things that we know about now, and of course, you'd have to look sideways at specific verses of the Quran to find those things, but you can't make any predictions using it, and it's never been done. So we're waiting for you or someone to do that. But here's a question for you: what would falsify your idea of God? If you say nothing, then your idea of God is not scientific because God would need to be falsifiable to be scientific. If you want to say God is outside of the universe, then God cannot be scientific because science cannot study what is outside the universe, at least not yet. So, you saying that science proves God is false. And in fact, you already said that science doesn't actually prove God in your own video. So your whole video is a lie. And why should we trust you since you've lied to us? Those are the questions that we should be asking, but you're not asking those questions, but I did. And no, it's not that I hate you. I don't know you. I know nothing about you. I dislike your loud music. Your ideas are what I'm attacking, not you, the person. Your beliefs are what I am going after. And the reasons that you hold those beliefs seem to be based on logical fallacies and not science. Be skeptical. Thanks for listening. This guy won't respond because he won't listen to this video, but that's okay. You did, and maybe you got something out of it. Leave your comments in the comment section below about whatever you want. I don't know what you want to say. Say anything. I don't know. Tell me stuff. Tell me what you're thinking. How you're feeling today. Tell me something you want me to analyze. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, that's all for now. See ya, Finn. Whee! I'm a turkey.